I'm not perfect, God, neither are you. Tell these salty motherfuckers to tell the truth. Tell politicians to give up the rooms. Tell silent voters to stand up to the booth.
God, it's me. Can you hear my plea? Feeling like I'm lost in this world, can't you see? Demons creeping in, trying to take control of me. But I'm just trying to find the light, trying to break free. I'm not perfect, God, neither are you. But why do you keep forgetting me? What did I do? Trying to have a convo, but you starting to preach. Feeling like I'm on a leash. Can't find no peace, find no peace. Living in hell, can't you hear my plea? I'm suffocating, can't you see? Why you let these false prophets roam free? While the will run suffer, can't you see? I'm not perfect, God, neither are you. Why you keep targeting me? What did I do? Trying to have a convo, but you starting to preach. Feel like I'm on a leash, can't find no peace.
Hardest battles, strongest soldiers, greatest burden, broadest shoulders, pushing up just like these boulders. This conflict like it's water, so this mercy, take my chalice, seeking grace through all this malice. All of these salty motherfuckers to give out.
Politics and sinners, they all the same. Got me stuck in this endless game. But I won't give up, won't play the role. Gotta do what's best
for my soul.
I'm not perfect, God. Neither are you. Tell these salty motherfuckers to tell the truth. Tell these politicians to give up the room. Tell silent voters to stand up to the booth. Living wild but truthfully free. God keep on watching over me. Take my pleas and keep the receipts. I just want.
Good morning. Hey, this is gonna be a good ass episode. I got a lot to get off my chest today, right? And I'm so motherfuckers is really showing their true colors right today. Motherfuckers, this is 2025, right? So 2024 was the truth. Now, God don't like ugly, and y'all gonna see this shit, right? In true color, because you know everybody said Kendrick Lamar said the revolution was gonna be televised. Well, I believe, you know what? He was right, because this shit is gonna be televised because it's happening in our city councils. It's happening where you're having false prophets come speak for us, right? That's why I want to talk about Minneapolis exposed corruption, contracts, and the Feeding Our Future scandal. That's what I want to talk about. But before I get into all of that, you know, I always start off with independent music. So with that being said, I'm going to start off with Louis and Sanity. And here we go. Louis Blaze, Sanity.
I don't know what you've been to.
Don't be afraid to show.
Oh, only when you mad at me. Yeah, look. This the type of shit that take my sanity. Like how you come and trade me out my vanity. Oh, I can't believe that she abandoned me. Show me karma is a bitch when she get mad at me. Chasing after my desires in a fantasy. If it's too sweet to be true, then that's a cavity. Say you wanna make a future we could plan and see. She got that type of love to make you wanna plan to see. Oh yeah, I don't know what you've been told, but I think your heart's a pot of gold. Let me be the one to hold you down forever together. Okay, I do not want to die alone. Be by my side till we get old. I'll be your high when you feel low. Together forever. Yeah. Fuck these other bitches, you my road dog. I know you gon' answer for that phone call. You the baddest in the world, I love to show you all. Yeah, I know these haters gon' be thrown off. But baby, I just think that we should slow down. Think I wanna settle down, but I don't know how. But no lie, I know I wanna tie your soul down. Yeah. Oh, I wanna tie your soul down. This the type of shit that take my sanity. Like how you come and trade me out my vanity. Oh, I can't believe that she abandoned me. Show me karma is a bitch when she get mad at me. Chasing after my desires in a fantasy. If it's too sweet to be true, then that's a cavity. Say you wanna make a future we could plan and see. She got that type of love to make you wanna plan to see. Oh yeah, I you down forever together. Okay, I do not want to die alone. Be by my side till we get old. I'll be your high when you feel low. Together forever. I hope it ain't fatal attraction. For every action, no, there's a reaction. It seemed we was moving forward, now we going backwards. You telling me you don't like the way that I be acting? Entertaining all these hoes, say I'm too friendly. I'm just naturally charming, I got that pimpin' in me. You can be my number one if you stay with me. She told my ass, boy, you not about to play with me. Don't play with me, no. This the type of shit that take my sanity. Like how you come and trade me out my vanity. Oh, I can't believe that she abandoned me. Show me karma is a bitch when she get mad at me. Chasing after my desires in a fantasy. If it's too sweet to be true, then that's a cavity. Say you wanna make a future we could plan and see. She got that type of love that make you wanna plant a seed. Oh yeah, I don't know what you've been told, but I think your heart's a pot of gold. Let me be the one to hold you down forever together. Okay, I do not want to die alone. Be by my side till we get old. I'll be your high when you feel low. Together forever.
So that was Louis Blaze, Sanity. He just dropped that yesterday. But what I want, like I said, what I want to get into is about Minneapolis. Exposed corruption, contracts, and the Feeding Our Future scandal. I don't honestly believe people, they don't really get how deep this is, right? So I want to get into it. And yesterday there was a press conference by the Minneapolis city, some council members. I won't say all of them because it wasn't, right? It was Jason Chavez. It was Elliot Payne, Sheikh Ty, Chowdhury. So there was only 5 of them, right? And you see Wansley, the black woman. Now I want people to listen to this because we're gonna talk about Minneapolis the whole day in the Feeding Our Future scandal. Because you're really honestly, this is why we don't get change in Minneapolis, I feel, is because, you know, a lot of people, they don't know their history. They don't know the history. You know, they want to claim, I shouldn't even say claim, right? Because they do the work for Minneapolis, but what is the work that you're doing? Because if you're afraid to call out bad actors, because here's the thing of it is, we sit here and act like people don't have past. Like Marvin Haynes isn't out here, and we still haven't talked about the injustice that happened to him. We haven't talked about how Minneapolis leaders have railroaded Mayan Burrell. They railroaded Marvin Haynes. They railroaded so many black men now that are in prison. Stillwater, Oak Park Heights, Rush City, Moose Lake, Lino Lakes, that we have no discussions about. So before you people, and I'm going to say this, you people, because people are really starting to show your true colors, and it's obvious that people don't care about change. We care more about clout and fame. And I'm honestly, so just please watch this and see what Robin Wansley in the city, Elliot Payne, Jason Chavez, Chowdhury, and Sheikh Ty talk about.
Good afternoon, everyone. I am Council Member Robin Wansley, and I am the Vice Chair of the Public Health and Safety Committee and the lead author on the proposal to allocate funds to Hennepin County to oversee the city's group violence intervention and youth group violence intervention work for the remainder of 2025. Research indicates that about 0.5% of the city's population are actually involved in as much as about 70% of its shootings. And GBI asserts that focused interventions with this key population can massively reduce violence for a whole community. So group violence intervention has actually had impressive results for our city, including double-digit reductions in homicides for other cities around the country. And while GBI is saving lives, it's also saving resources, meaning fewer 911 calls, fewer ambulances and police deployed, meaning also fewer jail cells filled. Both the city of Minneapolis and Hennepin County have used focused deterrence strategies like group violence intervention and youth group violence intervention with extremely successful results. and reductions in violence and recidivism. Unfortunately, violence prevention has been severely hindered by mismanagement of the city's neighborhood safety department for the last 2 years. And council has persistently tried to get needed corrective action from the Fry administration. And media, you all have been provided packets outlining many of those documented attempts from council to get corrective actions basically enacted from the Fry administration, and this information will be posted online for the public to access as well. I want to also be clear that these concerns have persisted through 2 directors and 2 commissioners and 1 mayor. These concerns are not about one person or about one contract. They are about systemic mismanagement that have led to group violence intervention programs and services failing far below the standards that are needed to keep our residents safe. Moving one set of programming out of the neighborhood safety department temporarily will give our neighborhood safety department the space and time it needs to get up to full staffing and to stabilize the department and focus on the other crucially important safety services they are responsible for administering to keep all of our residents safe across the city. Group violence intervention programs are uniquely able to be absorbed by the county due to our long-standing partnership around this specific initiative. And we have been having this conversation related to problems within the neighborhood safety department for over 2 years. And good leaders know when to ask for help. And at a time when we are struggling, we are fortunate to have willing partners right across the street who are here to help us carry this work forward while we get our own house in order. And I also think it's important to note that this proposal would not impact other programs that currently exist within the neighborhood safety department. And that includes the hospital-based intervention program called Next Step, the Community Trauma Response Fund, the Violence Prevention Service Fund, the Minneapolis Violence Interrupters as well. Also safety ambassadors and behavior crisis response, which I think is important to note. Council voted to move this program into the fire department, but also as early of last summer, we received a presentation from the organization that runs that program that also highlighted the internal issues within the neighborhood safety department that made it very difficult and challenging for them to carry out their crucial work for our city in addressing the mental health needs that our residents encounter and that they provide critical services for. So that said, we are hopeful that with this additional capacity afforded to the city by transferring group violence intervention programs over to them, the neighborhood safety department will be able to follow through on their commitment to use more data-informed deployment for prevention and response services and programs to violence. So in closing, I want to again affirm that I know I and my colleagues are strongly committed to building a robust, comprehensive public safety system that includes violence prevention, intervention, and restorative services. And this proposal reflects the best short-term adjustment we can make in order to realize that vision, because simply our residents' lives depend on that. So with that, I will ask my colleague, Councilmember Chavez, who also chairs the Public Health and Safety Committee, to share a few words as well.
Thank you so much. Hi everyone, my name is Jason Chavez. I am the City Council member for the 9th Ward, and I am the chair of the Public Health and Safety Committee. And today we are taking unprecedented action to address unprecedented times here at City Hall. Unfortunately, we've seen the current staffing challenges in the Neighborhood Safety Department make it difficult for the department to effectively manage the city's comprehensive approach to community safety. Our residents feel the pain on the streets on a daily basis, and we can no longer sit silently as we continue to see it impact our community as a whole. When residents call for help, I want to confidently say that Minneapolis will respond with a comprehensive, accountable, and reliable approach. And unfortunately, that is not the case today. As council, we have provided the mayor of Minneapolis with significant resources and plenty of time to implement programs to improve public safety and save people's lives. We cannot, will not wait for mismanagement to get its act together, but we need to address the challenges facing our residents in Minneapolis right now, especially with focused intervention strategies and programs that will save people's lives. The lack of action that we have seen from the top has left us with no other option than to temporarily move these programs to the county to improve the safety of residents in Minneapolis and to address the concerns of mismanagement that many of our residents are sharing.
Thank you, Councilmember Chavez. Last, I will invite Council President Elliott Payne to close us out with a few comments.
Thank you, Councilmember Wansley. My name is Elliott Payne. I use he, him pronouns. And our first priority is the safety of our community. And when it comes to safety, our community doesn't care who is showing up, whether it's the city or the county. They just want to be safe. And so as we're looking at the last several years of some of the work around building out a comprehensive public safety system, we're seeing a number of gaps. And I know that our commissioner spoke earlier today about some of the work they're doing around building infrastructure within the neighborhood safety department, building staff capacity within the neighborhood safety department. Those are all important tasks that need to happen for success. But our community can't wait for the bureaucracy to catch up with the real needs on the ground. Myself and Councilmember Chowdhury just last Friday night went on a ride-along with our juvenile task force. And on that ride-along, we learned about how critically important it is for law enforcement, county, and community to be working closely and collaboratively to make sure that these programs are successful, these strategies are successful. And what we have seen over the last 2 years is that there's been a major struggle building up the city's capacity to make sure that these strategies are executed in a really sound way. This action that we're proposing today allows for the city to build up our capacity, strengthen our infrastructure, and ensure that these strategies are moving forward at the pace that our community really is demanding. Because although it's very cold out today, spring is just around the corner, and we know as the weather warms up, that's when we start running into a lot of community violence issues. And we want to make sure that we are in a good place once that warmer season comes to fruition. And so this is just about good governance. This is about listening to our community. This is about having deeper ties and communication with the county as a partner and making sure that we're being comprehensive in our approach to public safety. Any questions?
Before we get into the nitty-gritty, just can you explain like not the legalities, but how this happens? I mean, does the county have to be willing to accept it? Can a majority of the council just vote for this amendment and the money goes? Like how does just the governance on this work?
Yeah, thank you for that question. So the motion as it's written in consultation with our city attorneys, it notes that the appropriation of the $1.1 million is based on an agreement being established between the city of Minneapolis and Hennepin County, which is typical for other partnerships we've entered into the county. We've done this before, even as recently as in December when we did emergency housing vouchers, for instance, in addressing unsheltered homelessness. So we've done these partnerships before. We follow standard template legal language, and our city attorneys will know how to, address that agreement drafting process in collaboration with the attorneys that service Hennepin County.
So does it require something on the county's acceptance side? Do they have to vote to accept it, or how
So also included in your packet, Hennepin County has already sent a letter to City Council saying that they're more than willing to support the receipt of these resources should Council vote to approve the passage of these funds.
That's a letter from Commissioner Conley.
As well as the Hennepin County Attorney's Office.
The Hennepin County Attorney's Office.
So neighborhood safety department leaders have talked about, like building up more capacity and like adding more accountability and stuff over the past year. What do you think is like what else is missing, and what will it take for it to be ready to like go back in your eyes?
Mm-hmm. So also what's noted in that packet, we've also heard that for the past 2 years, and largely that placement of infrastructure and accountability has also been largely, I would say, council driven. Also, it's been legally driven by a lawsuit that I've heard a lot of conversation around in the past weekend. So the infrastructure pieces were things that council actually tried to work with the administration to basically put in place, so staffing. And these are things that, as I've highlighted, multiple directors have named. You need more staffing for contract compliance, to do more subject matter expertise in implementing these programs in alignment with best practices at the national level. But what we have seen time and time again on the service delivery piece, outcomes are not aligning. And I think most clearly is Minneapolis saw an increase in homicide rates, the highest in comparison to other cities. And I think it just goes to show of, well, if we are, quote unquote, putting in place accountability mechanisms, infrastructures, why aren't the outcomes basically aligning with that? And I think
that's a good point.
Largely, it's what we've seen and what's been indicative in those reports. These things are not being actually executed. Time and time, we're being told in these committees at council that things are happening, point A, B, C are happening, and they are not. And I would actually say the NYU policing report that was recently released also affirms that. We've been told data has been collected in helping with the deployment of safety resources, especially in critical areas. That report affirmed it has not been.
Part of the accountability work that OCS says they're doing right now is this latest RFP process that is wrapped up for contracting for these violence and trafficking programs. Are you saying there's mismanagement within this latest contracting process, and can you be specific about what was mismanaged in the process? So I have been very clear, and also in your packet it has named that the management has been very systemic. It's touched components about contract administration, and we've done on the council side as much as we could in terms of when we saw a bottleneck of contracts not being reviewed, asking, do you need staffing in order to support the administration or compliance, those type of things. But we've also noticed there's just not alignment of, or the correct implementation of these programs in alignment with national best practices. So we've asked, what do you need in terms of technical assistance providers? We've tried to work on that. Same with when we learned that partnerships at the national level and local level were broken because we weren't following through on accurate program implementation. We asked the Fry administration, what's going on? How are you looking at restoring those partnerships? We learned those issues. So it's much more broader than just being boiled down to contract pieces. And that's what we're getting at. It's not just about contract administration. It's not about a current cycle of contracts. It's about our current group violence intervention programs not being accurately and effectively being managed and deployed, and that leading to harmful outcomes for our residents. What I'm saying is, I mean, part of that change is this really the only second RFP ever put out for this program, and sort of this resolution and the concerns have kind of cropped up after organizations found out whether they were funded or not. Are you saying that RFP process was mismanaged and the wrong organizations were funded?
So I think it's important to know council has not been involved in any process around the RFP. We only get to touch our RFP process when it's brought forward to us for a vote. So I'm not sure what is being communicated to you. Once again, what council is focused on in this budget amendments and why we're bringing it forward and what's reflected in the packet that's been provided to you is 2 years worth of public documentation around a broad range of issues that ties to mismanagement and contract administration is a small piece of that.
Right. Good morning.
It's, you know, NSD has said they've been working to improve accountability in the contracting process, and the commissioner said last night, quote, several city council members choose to only support those efforts when it benefits their favorite nonprofits.
Is it true that
Look at Jake Todd.
is an
Look at Tawdry. Their eyes.
that you favor that did not receive contracts in this process?
I would say there's no evidence of that, and that's a really gross mischaracterization that has, again, no evidence to back that up, especially when you're holding in your arms right now 2 years worth of effort from this council attempting to work with that same commissioner, working with the mayor to address more than 2 years worth of identified mismanagement issues within that department that goes beyond just contract administration. So it does not boil down to corrective issues, and it's kind of ironic to even say that, considering this is the same administration that just not only about 4 days ago, we learned that possibly there was a pay-to-play system in place around the Our Rescue contract.
Damn.
And I think that says a lot about the current conditions of our current Office of Community Safety and why we do need a pause. And really think through how are we really building up a department that isn't engaging in efforts like that, that is using evidence-based models to basically ground its administration of programs, not off of who do you like more, or who was able to contact you or introduce you and to the mayor or to the commissioner. And we saw that play out with Our Rescue contract. That's not what's happening in this case.
Can you speak to the timing then? The timing of the resolution, is there a reason for now?
2 years worth of effort is the reason why now. 2 years worth of attempting to get corrective action and seeing Minneapolis experience an increase in homicides rather than a decrease in homicides. 2 years of watching council members beg the Fry administration for resources in areas where we knew lives were being lost and asking for deployment of resources and being told no. And recognizing as we go into another year, we have the option to not repeat those same mistakes. And it would be irresponsible of us to maintain a status quo.
Bang, bang.
When we have an option, that option is a partnership with the county that is more than willing to work with us while we figure out how to not keep repeating
Child, you look nervous as hell.
Management practices that keeps our resident lives.
Like she over there watching everything around her.
And I'm sorry, Council President.
I was going to just say, last question.
Can you speak to the next steps that have to be undertaken for the county to officially take over?
Yep, so as I mentioned earlier in the motion, it outlines that agreement would need to be put in place. So essentially that means that once council, or should council approve this funding, our attorneys would need to essentially meet with the county attorneys to hash out the conditions of that agreement. And there are language or some provisions that's a part of that motion in which council would like to see be incorporated in that agreement in terms of a transition plan, in terms of outcomes and evaluation, so that we're making sure that, again, because we've heard from the administration this concern around disruption, we want to make sure that the agreement can be able to answer to those concerns. So that's essentially would be the next steps. Our attorneys will have to get in the room and hash that out.
Robin, have you read former Director Nelson Brown's op-ed about how poisonous the relationship has become between safety and the council, and some of her allegations that she laid out?
What about it?
Well, I'm wondering if you've read it, and if you have some concerns, whether it's just on the optics of this. She felt bullied, felt harassed. She stepped away at a time where clearly you're calling for leadership. I'm just looking for your response to.
Yeah, I wish former Director Nelson Brown nothing but the best in her next endeavors. And as I mentioned, these issues that has been documented for more than 2 years, they stretch beyond just, the past two directors, past two commissioners, the current mayor. These have been things that have been widely vocalized and talked about.
Right.
And this council has repeatedly tried to address them, and this is just another effort from council to say, no, we want to continue taking this work serious and want to save lives in our city and keep our residents safe. And that's what the focus of this proposal is.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
Now watch, because you're gonna see they're gonna interview somebody. Just watch. Right, I told you. There goes Sam.
That's sad, y'all. Council members, that's sad. That you
Main
all
stage.
get in front of these people and tell these people that y'all care about our people, and you all ain't talking to none of us who are boots on the ground. You all are correct, and that much of the stuff that have gone on has been shaken. I shared that with you the other day. However, you all have had a process for years that's been working downtown that you all have ignored. Michael Rainville is right there. He knows about the process and he knows what works. And we got documentation to prove it. But this same council have ignored everything. And it's a shame before the good Lord in heaven.
No, Lord.
On Monday, last Monday, I buried a young 20-year-old who died from drugs in his veins, and his friend died as well. On Friday, I buried a young man who shot a young man. They shot him, both of them dead. We out here where there's real life, and this council have not been talking to none of us who are out here doing it, and they let it pass. I just met Brother Payne, was that Friday night. I'll give him this much credit. He came there seeking and looking for some answers. And so I don't know how to send this, but I can send you guys right now a report from DID from the work that we all have been doing for the last year on the block, week, day by day, so they will always have the proper information, so anybody would have the proper information.
I know what he's talking about, the downtown improvement district.
This to
right.
me
Thank
sounds
you.
like another one of them games that LaWanna so
Robert.
adequately pointed out.
Downtown, he talked about downtown
those
DID.
Who've been doing the work many times,
not North
no
Minneapolis, DID.
And those who've been doing whatever they've been doing,
crazy.
who have no records, this is another game and a gimmick. My suggestion to the council would be this: just stop, period. Don't give it to nobody right now. Pull it in the committee. Let's talk about it on the real. Don't come in the office. Come out on the block where we at, where those of us who are doing the real work can help navigate you through it. And if I apologize to him on Friday, because I assumed they knew what we knew was happening on the block. He said, "Real, we don't get none of that information. Is that not what you shared?" And I said, "You don't, because it makes no sense to me. How does a city council don't get information for what they're voting on to go forward? There should not be a week that go by where no council person don't have an adequate analysis of every foot that was on the ground, every meeting that was attended from those who've been paid by the city. He ought to know it. And if he don't know it, something wrong with us and we demanding the wrong thing." And I came here, and I thank God I came early, because they said this was going to happen at 1, to say we need to stop the games. Our people are dying. And what amazes me, Robin and Jason Chavez, how the Sam hell you gonna talk about you advocate for my people and you ain't talk to none of us? It's a game and a gimmick, and we're not for it. I'm asking again, table it. Don't send it nowhere. We already out here working. We ain't gonna stop working. Jamil's over there. We ain't gonna stop working. But we need the games to stop. If you don't believe what I'm saying is true, call Charlie Adams at the precinct over there. If you don't believe what I'm saying is true, call the lieutenant downtown, and then get the. I'll give you this report.
They're gonna get you a
can
narrative.
take it off my phone.
And we'll
show
give you
that what I'm telling you is accurate.
Let me see the report.
We got something that works, but we ain't using it.
That's a target
we
report.
We got something that works, but we're not using it. And I'm saying too many of us is dying for these games and these gimmicks to be played. And I need the city council to stop. Stop. Just plain old stop. I'll say this and I'm through.
Man, whatever, nigga.
If it was DEI, we'd really be up in arms about. Is it really about diversity, equity, and inclusion? But you have not honored those black folk who've been out here working for this. And LaWanna is right, y'all. Y'all made a queen out of the stuff Sasha did, and she made a mess. And I'm here to say it. And I'm man enough to say it. And so I'll be up at that council meeting too. You didn't want to hear me then.
You know, this is the whole crazy thing to me, right? Is it's always the same people. I used to be mad at that shit, right? But then I started to see Minneapolis for what it was, right? You have politicians that only speak about certain things. You know, right before my stroke last year, last June, we were doing things over north, right? Every week. It was called Operation Hug the Block. And we put it out there for these people to be able to come. None of them came. And that's the whole thing of it is when we started community violence, because we used to have a street team. We used to be out there. 2021, the corner 36th and Penn, 68% decrease when Anaya and Trinity passed away, were killed, and LaDavion got shot. Where were these people? They weren't anywhere. Because what pays? That's the one crazy thing that I need people to listen to. Because once somebody, they think that what McAfee did yesterday, we should be applauding that. But this is my question. These same niggas over here that are promoting this shit, where are y'all at when all these people, the streets be talking, there's lawsuits, there's sexual harassment charges. We're hiding cases for sexual predators that mess with our kids. We're hiding that. Our leaders, Bobby Champion, Jerry McAfee, Sharif Willis. See, I talk about shit that people are scared to talk about, but this the thing of it is, I understand. And to be honest, the only reason why, and council person put that out there, Shake Time, this is a person that was gonna lose $300,000 this year that was getting moved. That's why he was doing this shit. All of this shit is not about the community, because if you're doing the work, if it's going to another department, how are you going to lose your money if you're doing the same old shit? It's that there was going to be accountability. There was going to be oversight. Not that y'all come out there between the hours of 12 to 4 and pass out bogus ass juice and stale cookies. Where's the media at when people be talking about that shit? Let's talk about that. How these niggas be on 36th and Penn passing out stale juice, bogus ass juice, and stale cookies. Because I tell you like this, the council person was right down the street on 36th and Penn when somebody got shot in the head and they ran through his pockets. She was more worried about getting her feet done, and her nails did. Because you look in her area in 4th Ward, the area section that she lives in on the corner, right, that is between North Minneapolis and Robbinsdale, is an affluent area. But you look at the rest of 4th Ward or North Minneapolis, it's not that area. And look at data. If I'm not lying, here's the thing. You look at data and statistics. This nigga wasn't even talking about North Minneapolis. He talked about the downtown, the DID, the Downtown Improvement District. The Downtown Improvement. I'm going to look it up, right? But I want to hold up, because I want to play something, and then I'm going to get into that, right? But I'm going to look it up, the Downtown Improvement District and all that, their little data and blah, blah, blah. And then we're going to see who that's the UCMT. You're going to see some council members. You're going to see neighborhood districts, Minneapolis Foundation, Bush Foundation, Target. You're going to see these niggas been planning the whole time that to put people like, that's the crazy thing. They want to talk about it. They see they're going to get paid off our pain. They get paid off our pain. The more pain and trauma they cause in that community, they get paid more. Let's talk about it. They get paid beautifully. Because here's my thing of it is, somebody made a great point. And he said, what's crazy is you have somebody that went up to Minneapolis City Council that does not live there. Does not live there. So he doesn't care what's going on in Minneapolis, because the more we kill, the more he gets paid. The more his church can do funerals. So every time that a black man uses their life, or a black woman loses their life, or a black child loses their life, and they pick Shiloh Temple, the family does, or they pick West Salem Baptist Church, yeah, we're paying these people. They're either getting paid from Hennepin County, they're either getting paid from city of Minneapolis, because there's all these funds. We literally have so much blood in our hands, and we're afraid to call it out because people do certain things that they're good. Oh, yeah. We get riled up. Wait a minute. Do y'all not remember? God don't like ugly, nigga. Why you over here talking about God? Say I'm God, man, get the fuck out of here. I don't get. We have so many dick riders in Minneapolis. They talk about they real men. Y'all talk about Leah Fenke and being a man. I think y'all niggas is gay. Y'all trans. Because one day you self-made niggas, the next day you dick riding. You call this the one crazy thing what I will never understand about niggas, right? Is one day we'll call out shit, and then the minute something goes on that we think it's yeah. No. Because here's the one thing. This was put out, this whole meeting was put out. McAfee was the only one to show. You seen, because you watched the whole meeting, you seen a whole front row of orange shirts. The Downtown 100. The DID. So that wasn't about North Minneapolis. That was about the Downtown Improvement District. The DID. That was not about North Minneapolis. That was not about 36th and Penn. That was not Lowry and Penn. That wasn't the Unity. They weren't over there talking about the Union Liquor Store. They weren't over there talking about 41st in Lindale, 42nd in Lindale. They weren't talking about West Broadway. Nigga, they were talking about the Downtown Improvement District, where Operation Endeavor, Operation Safe Streets. How many operations are we going to do? Y'all, and it's the one crazy thing, because they talk about something that the youth, where are you going to put them? If there's such a crackdown, where y'all putting them? Because we don't have room for them. Where are y'all putting the juveniles? Y'all didn't fix it overnight, so where y'all sweeping it? That's my question. They say youth crime has gone down 68%. Okay. I'll dig that. I'll go with that. But where are you putting them at? Because y'all talking about parents been doing this. You still have parents that are begging for help. So what parents are you talking about? What parents? That's what I don't understand this. And then they talk about, I got the nigga. You knew how to put up that paperwork. You know how to fucking pull that up. You've been doing this shit for 35 motherfucking years, and you know how to pull up no paperwork? Because I know how to pull up the paperwork I'm looking for. So you can't tell me that you a pastor and supposed to be, you talking about, I got, nigga, you knew what you was doing. You could have pulled up that paperwork. Because you ain't doing shit. It's about the Downtown Improvement District. It's not about North Minneapolis. Because a lot of your money comes from Downtown Improvement District. A lot of it. That's the one crazy part. So it's like motherfuckers sit here and bypass everything to look at what they want to see. They look at what they want to see, because the truth that they have to face, that they got to look in the mirror, niggas get scared. They don't face everything and rise. They forget everything and run. And that's what's going on. We are rising. Niggas got up here and will stand up for false prophets, for lies, then we stand up for the truth. And I don't agree with Robin Walmsley either, because first of all, she's part of the problem. That Jason Chavez, Elliot Payne, Aisha Shaitai, Audrin Chaudhry, they're excuse me if I murdered your last name, man, but you are all the problem. You are a Democrat, a faction. We talk about lately Action for Liberty in the Republican Party, but we got to talk about DSA and the DFL, because they've taken over the council. Only one that I believe that was missing out of there was Katie Cashman and Jeremiah Ellison, because we do have a set. I shouldn't say we do. They do have a 7-6 advantage, right? Because then you have Rainville, then you have Vital, you have Koski, Palisano, Jenkins. So yeah, it breaks it down. And I mean, that's what I love about Wedge Live in Minneapolis. They're on Twitter, go follow them. Josh Martin, I believe, is, I don't know if he does, I shouldn't say that, but I do. Josh Martin Wedge Live, anything to do about Minneapolis, they're on it. You know, tailored to, I know these people, some of these people like me, some of them don't. We have acquired taste. Not everybody, hey, it comes from where I came from, and I'm not about to code switch for nobody no more. I'm not. I live in my truth. I am who I am. I don't need to kiss nobody ass. I don't need to suck nobody dick. I don't need to do none of that, because at the end of the day, listen, there's a lot of shit that people won't talk about, or the things that they won't do because they have government contracts. They're getting paid by the oppressor. And some of us don't honestly see that, and some of us do. So we can continue to go on saying that we're over here fighting for oppressor money to oppress our communities so that we can forget about it. We're sitting here talking about two scammers, a group of scammers called DSA, and some churches that, you know, that's the one crazy part, because I will never understand black people. I say this all the time. Y'all act like this nigga good, but the whole time, what about Marvin Haynes? What about Marvin Haynes? And I'm going to continue bringing up that name, because let's act like there was a whole 1,000 Black Man March. Keith Ellison, Spike Moss. Y'all railroaded a black boy. But don't nobody want to talk about that. Don't nobody. We know that there was a reward paid for false information. That churches paid in North Minneapolis to incarcerate, to railroad, and break up a black family. Let's talk about that. But see, people don't want to, because y'all are so caught up in the moment. Y'all are caught up in the heat of the moment, instead of that this fight is a marathon, because you got to pull yourself back. You know, here's the crazy thing of it is that I like some of the shit these people do, but then I understand it like, hey, he's not doing that. He's only doing this because they're paid. He's going to lose money. Just like the same thing of why Robin and them are, because first of all, it's going to the DSA activists. Who did they bring up? Angela Conley, Hennepin County Attorney Office. All DSA factions candidates. You got to look at Mary Mortery, Angela Conley, and then you got Irene Fernando. Come on, man. There's a whole bigger play at this, and people are just so quick to not look at all the strings, but only want to look at a few instead of looking at all the players.
Okay, another top story here at 5. The former director of the embattled Minneapolis Neighborhood Safety Department is now speaking out. She is defending the work of her office to provide greater oversight of violence prevention funding.
And as Fox 9 has reported, the city has been accused of handing out violence prevention contracts worth hundreds of thousands of dollars without following up to verify how that money was used.
I would definitely call it a broken system. I would also say that it was a system that, in the way that it was developed, makes the environment ripe for corruption. I believe that the vast majority of organizations wanted to do the right thing. They were just never asked or told what to do. As far as services, I think they got some pretty good guidance, and they were doing services in the way that they believe worked best. But we can't prove that because we don't have any documentation of, you know, what was being done, where it was being done, how often, and ultimately we cannot answer how much it costs to keep people safe, which should have been the focus.
Luana Nelson Brown resigned her position last month. Today she sat down for her first interview since leaving City Hall. This as several key council members want to move more than $1 million in violence prevention funding to the county, having lost faith in that office.
Fox 9's Paul Bloom is live downtown for us, and Paul, tensions running really high on this one.
Sure were, Simone. Kelsey, really interesting to hear from the former director there earlier today. But of course, we are talking about programming and funding in City Hall's violence prevention efforts. away from traditional policing, of course, in the wake of the murder of George Floyd. So this debate, for so many, is personal. Just moments into the debate over the fate of $1.25 million in violence prevention funding at City Hall.
And take care of the needs of our people. I shouldn't have to come here and say nothing.
Longtime neighborhood activist Reverend Jerry McAfee took over the podium out of turn, shutting down the meeting for several minutes.
And we're being toyed and played with. I'm doing the funerals. I'm out there on the block.
A group of key council members proposing to move the money to county control and oversight, having lost confidence in the city's neighborhood safety department overseeing the violence prevention work that goes beyond traditional policing.
It's about our current group violence intervention programs not being accurately and effectively being managed and deployed, and that leading to harmful outcomes for our residents.
As Fox 9 has reported previously, Minneapolis' violence prevention efforts have been under fire of late. A recent lawsuit settlement has led to additional guardrails and enhanced procedures in contracting and oversight that some on the council still find inadequate. But current and former leaders at City Hall argue the programming has now become far too political.
I highly encourage taxpayers and residents to oppose moving that money until you can see who the recipients were, more importantly, who did not get the funding and why.
Now, that measure did pass out of committee with mixed support, so it heads to the full city council meeting on Thursday. Should it get a majority of support there, then the Mayor Jacob Fry, would have veto power if he were to veto it. If it were to pass, that money, of course, would remain at the neighborhood safety department and in the city's control and not Hennepin County's. Reporting in downtown Minneapolis, Paul Bloom, Fox 9.
To be continued. Thank you, Paul.
What's the difference between a service animal and an emotion?
I want you to look at when they bring up DID, right? So here is the report. This is the services plan and estimated budget when they talk about DID, right? So service charges, LFA, GBA, right? Ambassadors to patrol sidewalks, livability and outreach, clean, greening and public realm, public area maintenance. So there was a lot of different things around here: community engagement, program management, administration, contingency. So it was altogether $8 million. The budget was, right? $8 million was it for? Because they won't get $1 million. Come on, man, this is crazy. Now look at the board of directors. Now y'all tell me. You tell me, when they bring up the DID, that's not about North Minneapolis. You see Abdi Wormsay, you see Steve Grove, Jacob Graff, Sonny Elliott, Todd Duising, Luis De Lorenzo. What does this have to do with North Minneapolis? This has nothing. This is the one thing of it is they want to make sure that it's just not about, and I get both sides of it, right? Regardless of what I may feel about Sharif, whatever I may feel about Jerry, Adair Mosley. God damn, there's some big ass hitters on here. Wow. I haven't seen this one yet. But god damn. Yeah, there's some big ass hitters. Crazy. NAACP. So what is it? I don't know. Let me take that back. The African American Leadership Forum, Adair Mosley. So it's like, man, I don't understand it. Like, when are people going to be comfortable calling out that, hey, it's not about community. It's not about bettering our streets. So what is it about? Is it about you buying new houses? Is it you about buying new cars? Because this is the one crazy thing that I want people to look at, right? Minneapolis talks so much about change, talks so much about reform. But how can we talk about any of those things if we're not telling the truth. Because if you're locking up more kids than ever, where are you putting them? We have no facilities for kids. We're sending them all the way to Utah. All the way to Utah. We're sending them out of state. So where are you sending them? If we're not, that's what I don't understand, right? And then first of all, kids can barely read. Let's give the kids options. And here's the crazy thing of it is, I don't disagree with a lot of what they do. Here's the thing of it is, there's so much fraud and waste that goes into it. Just like the lady said in her interview, with the people were asked for receipts and there would just be numbers written on paper. That's not a receipt. So you're sitting here telling we can point that we were doing this, that we were doing that. No, because when niggas went out to the streets, y'all wasn't there. Because first of all, in 2021, we wouldn't have over 102 homicides that year. And primarily 70 of them were over north in a certain area. So don't tell me that people are just like Jerry said the fucking shit himself, is that this past weekend, Friday, there was 2 people dead. Over the weekend, there was another one. So when are people going to wake up? Is it like people only care when certain things happen? Or do we care all the time? Do we only put people up when, you know what I'm saying? I don't understand it. Right. Oh yeah, nope, I get it. And I understand that because it did show a lot of it. Oh, you're a coward too, Brandon. I see that. Yeah, I don't duck no smoke over here. We talk about everything, right? If you want to become an elected official, if you want to do this, nigga, I got smoke for you. I'm not scared of none of these niggas. I don't care. You call me whatever you want. You a twit. In my eyes, you had plenty of opportunity. I'm in Minneapolis all the time. All the time. That's what I don't understand. Of like, that's the crazy. I haven't been honestly back there since December 21st, when we got in a car accident. But I will be soon. I'm not hard to find. I'm not hard. And that's the one crazy part, right? Because I've had Al Flower's son in my inbox. I've had Jerry McAfee's son in my inbox. I've had Jerry McAfee offer me money to shut the fuck up. That's what I'm saying of like, how do we literally look at people as being that they're good, but we never want to look at their past. We never want to look at their behavior. Some of the biggest cases in Minneapolis have been linked to certain names. Y'all don't care. Y'all care about the names that the media wants to give to you. Because how long have me, Marcus, Robert, we've talked about this fraud. We talked about how they were doing DBAs. We talked about how it was nothing but scams. Nobody listened. Not till the media came out with the shit did anybody really care. And that's what I don't understand is like, why now? Why now? Because is it they're fucking with your money? Is it because they understand that Trump is coming? They understand that, there's going to be a different U.S. Marshal. There's going to be a different U.S. Attorney. We're not going to have Andrew Luger. We're not going to have Eddie Frizzell. I believe that's who it is, who our U.S. Marshal is. You know what I'm saying? They understand it. They seen Bob Kroll name on the list, so they got scared. People got, oh man, we got that lawsuit. Here's my thing of it is, and I want to ask anybody listening right now, right? Do you feel like you should have voted a different way? Do you feel like you with everything that is going on, no matter if it's immigration, no matter if it's, homelessness, no matter if it's jobs, no matter if it's our education system, are you comfortable with your vote? Because I would tell you like this, I'm not. But when it came to my executive, oh yeah, I was definitely comfortable with it. I was definitely comfortable for who I voted for, Andy Williams. I understood that, he was going to give the little man, there was a long shot for this nigga to win, but I don't feel like I wasted my vote. I don't feel like if it would have went somewhere else, it would have did anything different. So I'm comfortable with that. Now, let's talk about the interstate of Minnesota. When it comes to my vote for Brad Finstad, he hasn't been much. I've been seeing this nigga name since he won the election. I haven't seen him talk about Tina. It's been all Tina Smith. It's all been Ilhan Omar. It's been Amy Klobuchar. And people act like they don't remember the names. They don't remember the pain that we go by every day. Every day. Every day. You know what I'm saying? It's like, it's really crazy to me. Right. It is basically a job for a meathead. And he does fit it. He's been in law enforcement for a very long time. He's probably not going to change. So let him get out of his system, Bob Crow, because if not, you're going to end up seeing Buddy as a sheriff somewhere that you don't want to see him. So I'll put it like that. He's better as being the U.S. Marshal than the president of the Minneapolis Police Union. We couldn't get change. And I don't believe we're still not going to get any change because you're having two factions. You can't put the Republicans into this. You can't. I don't know what Rainville is. I've heard that he's a Republican, but then Democrats, the DFL endorses him. So I fucking don't know. He might be a moderate DFLer. I don't know, one of the establishment ass niggas, because I sit there and I look at, phrase people, and then I look at the Democratic Socialists of America, and it's like you really look at that shit, and then it's like, wait, how come, the conservative organizations never get any help from the city? They never get any help. And then here's the crazy thing. Y'all pick and choose of who you want to help. You don't help everybody, because that's the one crazy part. I really got to give that to my nigga Marcus, is because that man was all by himself and asking for help. Oh, we ain't got no money, bro. We ain't got no money. We can't do this. We can't do that. But then yet y'all would help and are continuing to help your homeboy or your boyfriends or, family members. And it's like, damn, so we're just picking and choosing who we're helping now? Is that what we're going to do? That's crazy as hell. So I want to get into this, right? This is Fox 9. And this video you're going to see, this is about 8 minutes long. This is everything that happened yesterday leading up, right, when it went to committee. So let's talk about it, and let's let it play.
Hennepin County. This item is being brought forward to us by Councilmember Wansley, who I will first recognize to introduce the item.
Thank you, Chair Chuck Tai. I am waiting. Decorum, please.
Sir,
I'm sorry.
sir,
Okay.
sir,
This is.
excuse me.
Okay.
Sir.
This is. Can we do a recess?
Sir, I'm going to ask.
Can we do a recess?
Colleagues, if
Can we do a
can't
recess?
deal with this disruption, if we can't stop, we will need to recess this meeting. Colleagues, we are recessing this meeting for the next 5 minutes. We will come back after 5 minutes. Thank you.
Or maybe you all have not tasted or smelt the blood. Maybe you all are in these offices so much that the personal touch, the thing that moved you all to go into these offices, maybe you all have lost that. I need you to get your fire back for why you ran in the first place. And take care of the needs of our people. I shouldn't have to come here and say nothing. The diversity that's on this place ought to be encompassing of everybody, but it's not. And we're being toyed and played with. I'm doing the funerals. I'm out there on the block. I don't come see you all. I just got to hope that you all will do that which is right. But I keep seeing you all doing stuff that's wrong. And then when you won't answer a phone call, when you won't answer a text, and all I'm out here and my team out here doing, trying to make sure all of us safe, you all don't get half of the information that's going on this block. Because I don't know if y'all talking to her. Do y'all know about the young white girl that 6 African-American teenage boys was beaten downtown and we had to break it up? And then when they ran away, they went and started attacking a gay brother as well, and we had to break all that stuff up? Where were you all at? Or did y'all know that when the 2 boys got killed downtown, because the atmosphere that had been set is that sometimes even when our own people kill each other, communities show up to get ready to attack the police. And we got to stand in between that. Or the young girl who ran over the girl downtown, if you go get the videos, them are my people that's in between and saying, no, y'all don't do it because we want everybody safe. And you all ignore me. Oh, no. That ain't going to happen. I need you all to get the information. If you need to hit the block to get the understanding, there's enough of us here to take you out so you can get it. But what's been happening to us, y'all, is crazy. It's crazy. I'll say this and I'm going to go. But nobody understand that. Oh, you want to ignore me? I done paid a price for 35 years on these streets to try to make sure people safe. You will not ignore me. Matter of fact, I would rather you just say no. I can accept no, because I've accepted it every time I put in a proposal for neighborhood safety, y'all call it now. But all the nepotism that was going on inside of there, when folk knew who was doing the damn work. I didn't fuss and fight about it, because I'm a big man. I don't need to do it. But to play the game, yeah, eat your apple, my sister. You ought to eat it. Your ass been eating it all this other time and ain't been taking care of our business. You ought to get another one. But understand this. I won't ever lift up the phone to call you again. And the way you looking at me, if you want to come behind that podium, you do it. I guarantee you you'll regret it. I got 40-some years of shit in me from seeing my people die. No, I don't make threats, I make promises. Now you're going to act like a little girl when y'all doing all the other stuff you would have to do. That's what I said. Don't make me come back. That's all. Well, come put me out. Come put me out. Put me out. Homophobic. You all are heterophobic. What are you talking about, homophobic? Get out of here with that BS. Oh, now you gonna cry. Homophobic. You sick. Yeah. You crossed the line. You've been crossing lines. You've been crossing them for years. You heard me. You don't need no interpretation of what I say. Hell, I'm clear. Well, I'm going to go because I want to. I'll make you arrest me, but you know what's going to happen if you arrest me. My people coming. Now accept that shit. I will. And I'll see you again. That's a promise. Now handle the business like grown-ups and quit being children. Let's roll, Sam.
Y'all looking up shit. Who talking about me? They don't know what to say. Hey, you know how fucked up that was? Your mic is hot shake time. Where Chavez at? On pain.
Communications, we're ready to reconvene. from recess. Wonderful, thank you. Colleagues, welcome back to our regularly scheduled budget committee meeting. As a general advisory, I will announce that the council's rules do not permit comments from the public except during a properly noticed hearing or comment period. The purpose of this meeting is to conduct business of the city. It is not a forum for public testimony or comments. Under the Minnesota Open Meeting Law, meetings of the City Council and its committee are
They're gonna start doing
open
that
to the
shit.
public for
That's
the purpose
crazy.
of observation only. Consistent with council rules.
You know what? Here's the crazy thing for me is like, I might not agree with Jerry, but here's the thing. I don't agree with how the city council treats him either. You know what I'm saying? Like, you're not going to sit here and only silence a person or they can only talk when you feel like they're allowed to talk. And I will leave it at that because I've been treated like that by both sides. You know, I remember 2022 when we were riding around with Scott Jensen and Cicely Davis and some other Republicans. And now that they lost, and it was like, damn, where'd everybody go? You can't say that you cared about the community, that this was where did they go? Well, they all left. Everybody forgot about the community, got back to their jobs and right. Oh yeah, that's what I'm talking about. Like I give credit for that. You know what I'm saying? It's not easy. You know, I've gone up to, you know, city council and shut it down, not in Minneapolis, but in Red Wing. You know, I've been to the state capitol and had, you know, been booted out from Keith Ellison. So, I mean, honestly, I get it. It definitely is not easy. You know, that's one thing that I will say is that it takes hell of a man. And I've been to numerous from, you know, Derek Chauvin's trial to, it's, you know, shit, by any means necessary in my book. And I've been yelled at by numerous people that I be doing too much. But in my eyes, I'm revolutionary. I'm by any means necessary. You're not going to sit here and tell me when I feel something is right, then I'm going to do it. I'm not going to sit here and think about, oh, well, I don't care about what other people think. It's about what I feel is necessary, what I feel is that needs to be done. Not what somebody else is. Oh, well, we're doing this. Well, it's not working. Because obviously, if you were out here doing things, our numbers would be dropping and not skyrocketing. So I want to switch over to Feeding Our Future and Amy Bach and Salim said. So watch this, and I'll be right back.
Today at the federal courthouse in Minneapolis, the trial of two key suspects in the Feeding Our Future fraud scheme, starting with opening statements.
Amy Bach, the former director of Feeding Our Future, is accused of orchestrating the $250 million scheme. She is standing trial with Salim Saeed, also accused of fraud allegations. Fox 9's Rob Olson was in court all day following along with these proceedings, and he joins us live now. So, Rob, sounds like everything was moving fairly quickly today.
Yeah, moving along very, very quickly. The key elements here of the opening statements, which lasted until early afternoon, is what did Amy Bach know? What did she participate in? Well, the U.S. government basically accuses her of being at the center, at the top of a scheme to allegedly defraud the federal government out of those millions and millions of dollars. Her attorney says, no, she was lied to by the people who were engaged in this fraud, that she didn't know what was going on, and that, in fact, she had tried to stop it herself.
Amy Bach founded Feeding Our Future in 2018, and at first a prosecutor told jurors she oversaw just a handful of daycares enrolled in federal child meal programs. But in 2020, she transformed a sleepy nonprofit into an engine for the largest COVID fraud in this country, the prosecution said in opening statements. A brazen scheme, one so bold, so big and effective, that in a matter of months they had stolen $250 million. Telling them that documents seized from Feeding Our Future's office office in St. Anthony would show the hundreds of meal sites quickly added to her oversight, submitting fake invoices and rosters and claims of feeding tens of thousands of kids each day. That all of it went through Bach, who they called the head of the scheme. She approved the sites, submitted claims to the state, and kicked out those who didn't pay her. Those payments were bribes, the prosecution said. They were kickbacks, and in exchange, Amy Bach kept the bank open. In response, Bach's defense attorney, Kenneth Udebach, said she was the victim, calling her site operators clever liars, telling jurors that she had limited contact with those meal sites and that her own employees that inspected them also lied to her. She should not be held responsible for what she didn't do, what she didn't know, what she didn't participate in, he said. He also blamed the Minnesota Department of Education, who administered the federal meal money, saying they allowed the fraud and refused to investigate and misled the federal government. Salim Saeed is the man on trial with Bach, and he'd claimed to feed 5,000 to 6,000 meals each day at his Minneapolis restaurant. The prosecution said he went on to open many more meal sites across the state to expand his fraud into a franchise, they said. In a very brief response, his attorney also told jurors he did feed children and they would prove it.
Also on the stand today, the first witness is a U.S. postal inspector describing a search of the Feeding Our Future headquarters. That was basically to get a lot of these documents admitted into evidence that are really the key here, the numbers that they're going over that they say shows the fraud, and also the head of the nutrition program for the Minnesota Department of Education about what she saw, what she noticed, what she tried to do when some of these massive claims started coming in. Live in Minneapolis, Rob Olson, Fox 9.
That's crazy, man. And it's like, damn, will we ever get accountability, justice? You know, we've seen millions being wasted, all in the name of helping the community, regardless if it was feeding our futures, regardless if it was childcare, violence interruption. We're just figuring them out. Even the houseless, you know, we're coming to find out recovery. It's all been one big ass scam, one big ass fraudulent. And the thing of it is that most politicians that knew about it, but they didn't care. They didn't, because they were profiting from it. And you don't bite the hand that feeds you. You don't bite the hand that feeds you. So I want to get into the fraud committee, which started yesterday. And I want to get into that. So let's put, because the money amount is going to shock, I think, a lot of people. And we'll see if that has any change or any difference in our political games and our political warfare that is going on in Minnesota. I think it actually will, because you're starting to see it in real time. But let's play this.
A new House committee formed specifically in response to cases like Feeding Our Future for the first time this morning at the state capitol. Danny Spiewak is live at the Capitol with more on the committee's work. Danny?
Well, this is the first time in history that there's been a House committee dedicated to investigating and examining fraud across all state agencies from a broad perspective. And although this committee in the House is Republican-led for the next 2 years under the power sharing agreement, there does seem to be a lot of bipartisan interest in this issue. On the very day that Feeding Our Future founder Amy Bach started her criminal trial,
this is a very timely topic. It's not old news.
Republican Representative Kristen Robbins chaired the first ever meeting of the House Committee on Fraud Prevention.
Minnesotans want their money to be spent for the people who need the services, and they do not want it to be wasted.
Under the new power sharing deal in the House, Robbins and the GOP will lead the committee for the next 2 years. It's a response not only to Feeding Our Future, but also other recent scandals like the defrauding of autism and recovery centers through Medicaid reimbursement.
There's a huge list across a number of agencies, and that's what we need to get a handle on. Why is this continuing to happen? Why is it so pervasive? And how can we stop it?
House will come to order. Already, Republicans have introduced bills on the House floor to strengthen fraud reporting and detection and create a statewide Office of Inspector General to protect taxpayer dollars. In the Senate, the DFL has also introduced a similar bill to establish an Office of Inspector General, raising the prospects of bipartisanship.
We take it seriously
We don't believe or support people stealing money from the government.
Meanwhile, Governor Walz introduced his own package on fraud prevention last month.
Fraud has obviously been a big criticism from some during your administration. Do you see any room with negotiations with what Republicans have proposed?
Absolutely. I think what we've already put out there merits much of what they're at. I've looked at a lot of their proposals. I'm solid with them, and I think we can do it.
It's an example of the two parties finding common ground after such a rocky start this year in the House. And this House Committee on Fraud Oversight will meet weekly here this session over the next 2 years, as it will be GOP-led. It'll be 5 Republican members of the committee and 3 DFL members. That was part of the deal with the power sharing, is that fraud would be the one committee, even if the House goes back to a tie in March, that the Republicans would lead. Back to you.
All right, thank you.
So that's another thing to keep your eye on. Keep your eye on the fraud committee. I shared a little bit of that yesterday with Krista Robbins. And that is a committee to be watching. That is a committee to care about. That is a committee to, do we need to make a difference in Minnesota? A lot of it will be talking about recovery programs. They will be talking about, violence interruption. They'll be talking about feeding our future. And I'm curious to see how far they can get without subpoena power, without making individuals pull out paperwork, pull out documents, pull out proof evidence of what they're doing. Because if you were listening to that committee yesterday, damn near most of the money that they sent out has been used fraudulently. Or that people have wasted it and are proven that they haven't spent it in the right way, or haven't been able to prove that they spent it in the right way. And it's got me thinking, like, damn, what are we doing? Like, when did we start as Americans, as, people from our communities, because we talk so much about celebrities. We talk so much about celebrities. We talk so much, and that's what I don't get. But then we won't talk about the wolves that are in our communities in sheep's clothing. We never want to talk about our own backyards. We're more comfortable talking about national news. We're comfortable talking about Donald Trump. We're comfortable talking about P. Diddy. What about the P. Diddy's in our own hoods? What about the Jay-Z's in our own hoods? If y'all believe that shit, I'm not saying Jay was a part of that. I guess I kind of did, but he's been accused. I'm not saying that. No, I'm gonna leave it there, because I'm not gonna victim shame. I'm not gonna shame blame. I'm not gonna do any of that. I'll just say this allegedly. But it's wild. It's wild as hell, and I still don't understand it. I just know that from the Super Bowl. From that They Not Like Us song, is that America was never a serious place when we sit there and get hyped over lies about a person and not the truth. That's what that showed me. That's what the Super Bowl halftime showed me, is that people care more about lies and clout and fame than the truth. And we honestly, we see that. We see that every day, and we don't call it out. We're seeing what was going on in Chicago with Tiffany Haynard, the mayor out there. We're seeing what's going on in Baltimore. Eric Adams just got his charges dropped, but that's because he's screwing over immigrants. You know what I'm saying? He allowed his people to come and arrest him. Even though it's a sanctuary state, he's still allowing his officers and to do enforcement. The same way when, I'm not, I don't, here's the thing of it is, I don't know how I feel about immigration, right? I just know that in my eyes, there's a lot of, throughout history, we were the cause of this because we weren't paying attention. We were more paying attention to PlayStation or sidekicks, telephones that glowed in the dark when they rang. You know what I'm saying? We wasn't caring about what Amy Klobuchar was doing inside of our communities. We were too afraid to call it out, and that's why I look at everybody that works inside the, Minneapolis Police Department. It didn't matter if it came to cops or if it came from the administration staff or city council members. You can't say you're for the community because we sit there, we allow these things. We only care about what we care about. We didn't care about ending gun violence in the last 30 years in Minneapolis, especially when it came to Ward 4 and 5. No, it was always about how can people prosper? How can we profit off this political game? Because you don't need many votes to win. You need about 3,100 to win North Minneapolis. And honestly, Ward 4, there's enough votes out there that I believe that somebody could get that 3,100, and even VTAL could still have the little $3,000 she got the last time, and they would still be the winner. So, but you got to put that dedication. You got to put that you want it. You know what I'm saying? Doesn't matter about, and when you get there, mean your word. It doesn't matter if you can't get it through. It's the fact that you tried. Because sooner or later, you're going to be able to break down doors that nobody else could, because you can stand on the truth. You can stand on the wrongness, and more people start standing on that side of what's correct. They'll stop seeing it as, oh, you're a Democrat, that's wrong. Or you're a Republican, that's wrong. No, let's just see it that it's a human being and that it's something that doesn't belong. You know what I'm saying? Let's leave it at that. It's like something is seriously going on. And yeah, we don't know what. That's what people need to think about. That's what individuals need to be over here saying to themselves, but yet they won't, because they're paid by a system. They're either their buddy or their oh, that's my friend. That's my friend. Well, what do you mean? Well, your friend's screwing over the community. Are you scared to confront your friend? Are you scared to ask your friend, like, hey, man, why are you doing that to the community? What did they do to you? Are people afraid to ask that? Are you afraid to have conversations with individuals, them uncomfortable conversations? That's what I want to ask. Because there's enough proof out here that if you have an organization, a nonprofit that is doing work inside of Minnesota, you should be able to prove what you're doing. We shouldn't care about if you made over $100,000 a year, but then yet look at our community and say, well, where's that $100,000 you made? Because you didn't deserve that. Look at the streets. Look at the community. So why do people like Minneapolis City Council members get paid over $120,000 a year? And then look at how our community looks. Look how uptown Minneapolis looks. Look how Hiawatha and Lake Street looks. Look how West Lake Street, East Lake Street, then go over to West Broadway. Go over to Northeast Minneapolis. And then go over to the lakes and see if there's a difference. And see what areas go to uptown, go to North Loop, go to the DID district. And you will see every place is policed different. You will see that every place is treated differently. People are treated differently. You see when you go over to uptown, people are more on the guard. They're more aware of their surroundings. That's why Stella's, and I think they honestly opened back up, but I don't think Stella's is there anymore. The fish house where Winston Smith was. And it's crazy? How come we ain't heard no more about that video? I don't want y'all to forget, because we done heard about, I don't want people to be like, because wait, there was a video that came out and we all knew about the video. We all knew that there was a video out there that Winston was recording on his phone and that they couldn't get into it. So that they finally broke into it. But where's the video? So please don't forget about, individuals, because there's an injustice out here, and Winston deserves justice. Right. Oh, yeah, no, I definitely agree. Right. This country started going wrong when being a social parasite became an acceptable profession. Oh, I agree. And we got so far away from having conversations because even me myself, when I first got into this, it was hard for me to be able to listen to people talk, and now I understand it. We all have different, because I feel like my way might work the best. Doesn't mean that it is. So I need other people's ideas. I need other people's checks and balances, their perspective of how all this works, because in my mind, I have one way that it might, but is that the correct way? Even when it comes down to education, I might think that school choice and school voucher is really good. But then I also understand the whole public education point of it. So there is a scale here. My point of it is that we need to treat education equally. We need to look at every kid is that we care. That's all that matters to me. Even when it comes down to history, we have to talk about everybody. We have to tell why John F. Kennedy was killed. We have to tell why Martin Luther King, Malcolm X, that our own government. We got to talk about JFK. We have to talk about the CIA that left guns in our communities, crates. We have to talk about the drugs that our own government was supplying to the people to overdose. These are all conversations that are needed to be had. And why? Why do we have to call a person a whistleblower when they come out with the truth? I will never understand that. We call people whistleblowers. We call them snitches. But when people are telling the truth, that's the one crazy part, because I don't know how many times in the last 2 months, since all this shit has broke loose with Feeding Our Future and all these other scams when it came to Evergreen, New Way, Violence Interrupters, and and all this shit, right? And I'm like, it's always been there. It's that if Carrie Levin or WCCO, or if it isn't Lure Goose, if it isn't Reggie Chapman, if it isn't AJ, if it isn't Paul Bloom, y'all don't listen. You guys don't listen to everyday Americans. So I can understand why, people like Ron Edwards, rest in peace. I can understand why KG Wilson, or some of the people that have been down in Minneapolis fighting, calling this shit out. Why they are the way that they are now. I could understand why people thought that Ron Edwards was cuckoo or he was crazy, because we weren't ready for the truth. And if you're not ready, I can see why Mel Reeves, why people looked at him funny. Rest in peace. I understand. I understand, because we weren't ready for the truth. And I remember when Mel came over. We were camping out at Hennepin County Courthouse, and Mel came over there one night, and we were just out there. We had hot cocoa, coffee. We were just, we put locks on the bars that were supposedly protecting Hennepin County. It was just one big family. We were out there for a whole week until they came and got us out of there. And I just remember the Locks for Love. I remember, Kia. I love Kaya. I love my sister, Kaya Hart. We did valuable things with, damn, I forgot the name of it. But we had a group, and it was basically like, Fred Hampton wanted to do it and get every race together. Good Trouble, that's what we called it. It was called Good Trouble. And we did. We went out to Minnetonka. We did a protest out there. We started with, Dalal Aid. We went over there. So we've done a lot of, various things. And I honestly don't want to change of what I've accomplished. It just made me a smarter person. So even when it comes to writing new resolutions or, proclamations proclaiming racism a public health crisis, I've learned from my mistakes that words do matter. Right. Thank you for that. Thank you. Words have no meaning until feelings are applied. Right. So when we talk about racism, now when you talk about systemic, I'm not saying that You know, here's the one thing that I want people to understand, right? And I'm going to get up off here real soon, is that when we talk about systemic racism, the difference between the racism that these people were talking about and the systemic racism, there's a difference, because these proclamations that are out here right now proclaiming racism, a public health crisis, they look at individuals. It doesn't look at the government. It doesn't look at, you know, Hennepin County Medical Center or Red Wing. Let's look at our policies to see what we're doing wrong, because can we do something better along the way? Are we allowing people to be oppressed in ways that we can't understand? And we're starting to see, even when it came to redlining, you're seeing real estate agents that, what, they did that? What do you mean you're a real estate agent? You were out here doing shit you didn't even know? You know what I'm saying? That, so we have history. That's all I'm saying, is like, once we know better, we will do better. And I hope everybody, they listened. And I want to go out of here today with, you know, Don Tripp, eyes don't lie, because the eyes don't lie. And I want people to see that, is like, you're seeing all this fraud, you're seeing all this waste, and that we're not graduating kids. Our policies are actually hurting these babies, our next generations. So with that being said, man, I want y'all to have a safe day. I won't be back tomorrow. I got to go to the doctor with my dad, but I will not have an episode tomorrow. So I'll be back Thursday. With that being said, man, I want y'all to win or fail, freedom or jail, heaven or hell. Wish me well, and I'll see y'all Thursday. Y'all have a great one.
Yeah. Sometimes we'll be blinded by our idea of who a person is, or who you want them to be. You be so blind, you don't really see who they really are. If that makes sense. Yeah. I'm embarrassed, dog, I can't believe my eyes. Time to switch it up, cause niggas switching sides. You a bitch, can't even look me in my eyes. I blame myself because I should've seen the signs. I blame myself because I peeped it in your vibe. Should've grabbed my scissors, it was time to sever ties. Time to step away from you, I need more than space from you. Niggas be quick to take from you, but hesitant to take the truth. I had high hopes, I thought you were one of us. I should've knew something was up back when we was coming up. I would break my back to get you half, and that just wasn't enough. When it's time for you to split the pie, I'm always undercut. Break my heart, never mind your foes, gotta watch your bros. I might even shed a tear before I wipe your nose. I never imagined you not with me down this road. When it rains and it pours and true colors start to show. I'm embarrassed, dog, I can't believe my eyes. Time to switch it up, cause niggas switching sides. You a bitch, can't even look me in my eyes. I blame myself because I should've seen the signs. Yeah, it's up from here, but hey, at least I tried. I can give you everything I have, but not a spine. Funny how you hit me every time you in a bind, but every time I need you, you impossible to find. Yeah, it's fucked up when you gotta crop your dog. Got the picture, he too focused on the frame. He don't even see the vision, he's so greedy that it's sickening. Although I'm no mathematician, I can see it clear as day. Best solution is division. I'm embarrassed, dog, I can't believe my eyes. Time to switch it up, my nigga switch sides. You a bitch, can't even look me in my eyes. I blame myself because I should've seen the signs.